Yeah, almost that hard. You should have been like, maybe like represents that. Like, basically. This was straight to the answer. That's
okay, folks. So what we're going to be doing this week is we will be doing calculations. Lots and lots and lots of calculations. Today what we're going to do is hopefully what will be simple, straightforward calculations, or what I refer to as a one-step calculation, meaning that there is only one conversion factor. That is just so that we get very confident in being able to put the numerator in the appropriate location and the denominator in the appropriate location. Then Wednesday, we'll do two-step conversions so that we have more conversion factors. Again, building up the process. And then on Friday, we're going to get into cubing and squaring conversion factors, which will probably be the toughest of the type of conversions that we do this week. Conversions what we have been doing and what we're going to be doing with these conversions are at the core of concepts that we use in chemistry. We will get into later in the semester, we'll come back to conversions, and they won't be metric prefix conversions necessarily. They won't include English conversions necessarily. Instead, they'll include mole to mole conversions and Avogadro's numbers conversions and molar mass conversions and a variety of other conversions. But the process is the same. So once you can get an idea of how to perform a conversion, the process remains a constant. And so that's why we spend a little extra time on it now, is hopefully to help build up the process of how to perform a conversion, so that when we get into the chemical conversions that we will be doing, you already know the process. And so it's just learning the new conversion factors. Okay, so one of my goals today is for you to know when to attack the English to metric conversion table and when to use your knowledge of the metric prefix system. That's one of my goals today. The second one of my goals is making sure that everybody knows how to enter things into their calculator appropriately. And then the third is, as I've already stated, just to get very familiar with some conversions and how to perform the conversions. Folks, you've been doing conversions on and off your entire life. Sometimes you write them out formally, sometimes you don't. If I ask you how many seconds are in a minute, what would you tell me? 60 seconds are in 1 minute. You just did a conversion. You just didn't write it out. If I ask you how many eggs are in a dozen, 12. You just did a conversion. You didn't write it out. So you've been doing conversions the entire time. It's just sometimes the conversion factor is something that is not as familiar, such as 63 gallons in 1 hogshead. But it's still a conversion factor. You have the knowledge. We're just going to formalize it and write it down. So if I said, if I give you the problem of how many gallons are in $223 hogsheads, since I used that one already. How would we go about it? First of all, I've asked you to take 223 hogsheads and convert that into gallons. Do these words have anything in common? No. Because they don't have anything in common, that is your cue that you need the English to metric conversion table up at the top. So that's the first thing I did, is I realized there was nothing in common. So that means we're using the English to metric conversions. So I go to my English to metric table and I see it says 63 gallons equals one hogshead. That is the conversion factor I'm going to need. Now I'm going to begin my problem. I'm going to start with the 223 hogsheads. And in order to perform this calculation, since hogshead is in the numerator, that means the hogshead needs to be in the denominator. So looking at this equality, that means that I'm going to take and put the one hogshead into the denominator. The hogshead went into the denominator so that the unit canceled. The other half of that equality goes into the numerator. So the 63 gallons goes in the numerator. Because that is the unit I wanted to solve for, I'm going to do the math. So 223 times 63 is 14,049 gallons. Now, I've done the math. Now I've got to pay attention to significant digits. The first number has 3 significant digits. The 63 has 2 significant digits. And on Friday, I said anything equal to 1, that 1 would have unlimited or infinite number of significant digits. So in other words, you don't take that one into account when determining the significant figures. So since the measurement with the fewest sig figs had 2, our answer is only allowed 2 significant digits. Now, if it's only allowed 2 significant digits, then I'm allowed only the first 2 numbers here. But I can't, 14 is not the same thing as 14,000. So you have 2 possibilities on how you write your answer. You can write it as 14,000 with no decimal. Or you can write it as 1.4 times 10 to the 4 because the number of digits in the mantissa is equal to the number of significant digits. One of the 2. So step 1 was to identify what conversion factor or what table I may need based off of whether the terms had anything in common. Step 2 was to identify the conversion factor that I needed. Step 3 was to perform the calculation. Step 4 was to review the significant digits and determine the answer based on the correct number of significant digits. Questions? Let's look at another example. How many milliliters are in 2.3 liters? So I'm taking the 2.3 liters and I'm converting it into milliliters. Step one. Do the terms have anything in common? The word liters is common between the two units. Because it is, that means that you're using the metric prefix conversions and you will have to have these pull this one out of your head. Step two is to identify the conversion factor. 1 times 10 to the minus 3 liters is equal to 1 milliliter. Step three is to perform the calculation. I'm starting out with the 2.3 liters. Because I started out with 2.3 liters, it means that the liters need to be in the denominator so that the unit cancels. So I'm going to put the 1 times 10 to the minus 3 liters in the denominator to make sure my unit is canceling out, which will leave the other half of the equality in the numerator. When you key this into the calculator, you'll get 2,300 milliliters. Step four is significant digits. I have two significant figures. And this is where you have to remember that metric prefix conversion factors are exact quantities. Metric prefix conversion factors are exact quantities, meaning both of these have unlimited numbers of significant digits. The measurement with the fewest would have two significant digits, so 2,300 with no decimal showing is acceptable. Or you can record it as 2.3 times 10 to the third milliliters. And that way you can guarantee everybody understands that there's only two significant digits. Yes.
So how are you keying that into the calculator? Like, are you just doing 2.3 times 1 divided by 1?
Okay. So the question is, how do I key it into the calculator? It's 2.3 times, you can do times 1 divided by, and then it would be 1 second E, well, it's technically a comma. Come on. -3. Basically, what this piece comes up looking like is 1E -3. Now, some of you have this, don't have to do the second button. You actually have an EE directly on your keypad. I have to do the second because my EE is not directly on my keypad. Yes.
I think I'm confused on what goes in the numerator and what goes in the denominator.
Okay. Okay, so basically, I had liters and milliliters. So I found a conversion factor that had liters and milliliters. And that conversion factor is 1 milliliter is 1 times 10 to the minus 3 liters. The way I know what goes in the numerator and what goes in the denominator is all based off of this first one. I had an L, a liter in the numerator. That means to get rid of it, I had to have the liter portion in the denominator. So I literally picked up this entire piece and put it into the denominator.
Okay.
Because the unit's what I was paying attention to.
Okay.
Does that answer?
Yes, I do.
And it's like if you go back to the hogshead one, 63 gallons was 1 hogshead. Because I had hogshead here, I picked up the entire hogshead and moved it down so that the hogshead would cancel.
Okay. So we'll always start with your first number being in the top left box.
Yes, that's always, because you always start with the piece of information you know. And that was the piece of information I knew. So yes, you'll always start with whatever you were given in your top left. Other questions?
Last question. It has two significant numbers. Here, why they are
One more time.
then ask the question, surface area gallon, it has two significant numbers. But here, 1 milliliter and 1, yeah, both of them are unlimited.
These have infinite number. So they have a gazillion significant digits. Because they are the metric prefix conversion factors, and metric prefix conversion factors are exact numbers. Exact numbers have an unlimited number of significant digits. So although there's only a single digit here, because it is part of the metric prefix conversions, it's unlimited.
To simplify what you just said, pretty much the top half of the sheet, you go by like whatever numbers are used and stuff, you do use the amount of numbers you were given. But the bottom half of the sheet, you only go by what's given, and it's all infinite significant figures.
That is correct.
Okay.
Save one.
Oh, okay.
So what was just stated is this upper portion. You're going to have to pay attention to the digits that are not a 1. This upper portion, you actually have to pay attention to the digits. The bottom portion, these are exact quantities, so they have an unlimited number of significant digits. There is one exception, and it's the last one on the volume. And I wrote the word exact because it also has unlimited number of significant digits.
That helps.
So yes, these are exact numbers, and that one digit is an exact number. Exact numbers have infinite number of significant digits. They have more, I can guarantee they have more than what you started with. Exact numbers have many more than what you started with.
I'm not even sure about
Okay, let me do this. I'm going to put several problems up here for you to work on. And if you have had calculator issues, keying this into the calculator, I will come around while y'all are working on problems and see if I can figure out what's going on with the calculator. That way we're getting some problems in, and I can also maybe figure out calculators. Okay, so. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
My thought is.
So what you're gonna have to do. Because I don't see. It was the same. You can do Yeah, so it's like unless you have. Excuse me, sorry. It's only no, I just like, so I just play keyboards. And I have this learned in my mind, so far.
No.
I had to figure out.
And this is like I'm not just.
But these are.
Sure.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah.
I was fixing to put them in there so that you can see the answers. How are you doing on this? Okay.
It's looking like there's no, like, the viewers is the one.
That is correct.
So when we round this number to, the number we got was 76.8, so when we round it, it's gonna be.
Yes,
Yes. I have a question.
yes.
How many micrograms are in 1 gram?
1 times 10 to the minus 6. Yes.
So I'm looking at the computer right now, I'm just curious if, because 2.3 times 10 to the 6 power, can I, with my grams, I can figure that out. So that's the number.
I'm listening.
So I know how I want to get rid of my grams. So can I get rid of the times 10 to 6 grams with that?
Okay, so these would be, so we would have 25.6 grams. There is, I looked at my top table because scruple and dram doesn't have anything in common. 1 dram is 3 scruples. So when you key this out, 75, not 75, 25.6 times 3, you get 76.8. And that would be scruples. Now, when we do our significant digits, there are 3 significant digits in the first number. In the second number, for the 3, there is 1 significant digit, but for the 1 gram, I said anytime it's equal to 1, you assume that that one is an exact number, so that is infinite. So our answer can only have 1 significant digit. So you would have rounded this to, you would have had 2 choices essentially. It would have been 80 with no decimal. Or you could have done 8 times 10 to the 1. And therefore there's no confusion. Questions?
Is there a preferred way to work for us to finish off the question? Because you're giving us both options for us to finish off. You want to have it in notation or in like just units?
I imagine on active, that the scientific notation will be better. On my homework, it could go either way. On the test, it could go either way. Okay, on the next one, you would have had 2,600 grams. 1 times 10 to the minus 6 grams is equal to a microgram. So it would have been 2.6 times 10 to the 9th micrograms. In this particular case, significant digits, you have 2 significant digits in 2,600 because there's no decimal point showing. And the scientific notation for the metric prefix system are unlimited numbers. Therefore, your answer could have only had 2 significant digits. The next one, you would have had 2.3 times 10 to the 6th grams. 1 kilogram is equal to 1 times 10 to the 3rd grams. So your answer would have been 2.3 times 10 to the 3rd grams or kilograms. I always check myself, even though I do this all the time. Yep. As far as significant digits are concerned, you had 2 significant digits in your first number. Again, your metric prefix conversion factors have unlimited number of significant digits. The one with the fewest is 2, so that's why your answer could only have 2 significant digits. The last one, I would have gone to the English conversion table because of the fact that inches and links have nothing in common. And I would have found out 7.92 inches is equal to 1 link. I would have put the link in the denominator because that's what I needed to cancel out, and the 7.92 in the numerator. When you key this in, you get 229.68. Looking at significant digits, 29 has 2 significant digits. 7.92 has 3 significant digits, and the 1, again, like I've mentioned, if it's equal to 1 in the English, just assume unlimited. So that's unlimited. So 2 is the fewest. So your answer can only have 2 significant digits. So you would have recorded this one as 2.3 times 10 to the 2, or 230. And that would have been in inches.
Like on the one where you give stuff, you 6.8 and you round it to 80, is that just because it's more convenient to round it, since you only have one?
Well, that was, the question I was given is up here with the 76.8. Why did I was only allowed 1 significant digit, so that is the digit, that's 7. But if you look at the digit that comes after the 7, it is greater than 5. Well, 5 or greater, and so you had to round up.
So if there were 2 significant digits, then you look at the 6 and then look at the 8 and you round to the 6.
Right, if I'd have had 2 significant digits, then I would have held the 76, and I would have looked at the 8 to determine if I should round up or not.
But then it would just be 7 because you only have 1 significant. Oh, wait, no, I'm wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, it's theoretical too. Okay, never mind. I mean, whatever, it's fine.
For the first question, you have S group policy, S, the following no S.
Well, I just, circles, I mean, it's just the multiple of 1 scruple. So scruple would have been just 1, I misspelled it, it should be here. Oh. No, I've got scruples on all of them. I just misspelled one of them.
So do not need to put an S at the end of the unit.
You don't have to. Because, but normally, when you think of a multiple, you do add an S to things. So, yes, like scruples, links. A link is a single. Links are multiple. Other questions? Are you starting to feel more confident?
Yes.
Yes. Hold on, folks, I have questions.
I always used to get confused about, like, on number 5, when you did 1 program at top, instead of doing, like, however many kilograms equals 1 gram, or much.
Okay, so that is based off of which metric prefix conversion table you use. The one that I have given you, you will notice that the 1 is always associated with the prefix. So that's why it was, the prefix unit got the 1. The prefix unit got the 1. I always put the prefix unit with the 1, meaning that the scientific notation goes with the base unit.
So if the, whatever number we're looking for, it's on that table, it's always just on top of it.
Not necessarily. Okay, so I was just asked a question, so let me come up with an answer, an example real quick.
It's like, I don't know what to explain what I'm trying to say.
I think I know what you're trying to say.
I just always got confused because on most of them, you always put the one link or one script on bottom and then put however many.
That just got lucky.
Yeah.
It has to do with the equality and what I want to get rid of. So if I have two 2.6 times 10 to the 8 nanograms, and I want to convert that into grams. .6 times 10 to the 8 nanograms is what I start with. But here's where that table comes in. Remember, when I do my table, the 1 always goes with the prefix. So the 1 goes with the prefix, meaning the 1 times 10 to the minus 9 goes with the base unit. So in this case, the 1 went into the denominator because of the fact of what I wanted to get rid of. So it's based off of what I'm trying to get rid of, what goes in the denominator. Did that answer your question?
Kind of. I don't know. I just always, that was something that I was in trouble with remembering. Like, which one was where.
It's all based off of this.
Well, right, but I'm talking about the 1. Like, because it's like 1 nanogram equals how many grams, 1 gram is how many nanograms. And it always
Okay.
confused me.
It is, so that is always based off of whichever table you're using. And that's why I specifically choose the table I do. That way the 1 is always with the prefix. And that way you're not confusing which one the scientific notation goes with, which one the 1 goes with.
Right.
The 1 goes with the prefix. And so it's based off of which table you're using, and that's why I choose the table I do. So that way I get rid of that confusion. Other questions? So on Wednesday, we're going to do 2 conversion factors. And then on Friday, we will deal with cubic units and square units, which will get a little bit more complicated. I will see you on Wednesday. Yes. Yes.